been like a year since I've done a game review. There's probably a reason for that. Halo freaking Reach. Now this game has broken a whole bunch of records. I've been following it very closely, but honestly, I can say that when the trailer first came out, I was very excited. But as more started to come out about it, my excitement just went down a lot. I don't know why. Just as the story came closer, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So up until like a month ago, I really wasn't looking that much forward to it. And as usual, Bungie always launches an amazing advertisement campaign. This one is no exception. All of the Deliver Hope commercials were all extremely effective and made me very excited for this game. I got it last Tuesday when it came out, and I didn't want to do a review right then. I wanted to play it, soak it in, try out all the different things, because this game definitely has a lot of different things to explore. And I think now I'm ready to kind of hone in on my feelings for it and really just talk about it. Now, I seldom talk about games, but the game series most important to me is Halo. I've never been that much of a gamer, but it's just one of those series that I absolutely adore. Partially because of the fact that it is like a close to home nostalgic game. When my brother used to go out, he had an Xbox, he'd be like, hand me the controller, let me play. I was just this little kid killing aliens. It was fun. I couldn't really appreciate the game as a whole then, but as I got older, I just started loving it more and more. And being a little more mature when the third one came out, I just fully understood the scope of the game. And each time I replay them, I discover something more, and that's something magical. They have great replayability, if that is a word. They are just so much fun. There's so much to do on your own is just equally as entertaining as doing random crap with your friends. All the different achievements, all the different things to explore is just what makes Halo so awesome. Let's start out with a quick recap. Now, the first one, Halo Combat Evolved, is my favorite, like most people. I think it is definitely the overall best game. It doesn't have multiplayer, so it's hard to compare different components to the other two, or other, I guess it would be four. But it really overall just is an amazing game. Yes, the graphics aren't that awesome, but still, Halo just achieves on story and fun as hell gameplay. I remember just driving around the Warthog in circles just because it was so much fun. The side characters, the little disposable ones, aren't as in-depth or as creative as they get throughout the series, but still, it is a massive improvement on gaming at the time, and I can definitely see why people were so amazed and intrigued in having sequels. Now, Halo 2. I'm actually kind of sad because I can't find the hardened silver limited edition that we had years ago. I just can't find. I just can never find anything. But Halo 2 definitely has the best storyline out of any of them. It's just so involving and gripping. But unfortunately for this game, is one of the things that I've hated the most about it is the fact that it takes away the assault rifle. That always pisses me off. And it adds two incredibly annoying guns, which eventually get better. But the SMG and the battle rifle always manage to piss me off. And it seems throughout the game you never have enough ammo, and they're just never enough to kill things. And that is the entire gameplay itself, and just makes it even more difficult than it already is. But overall, the story just keeps it going, which makes it an amazing game. Then we have Halo 3, and this is all ratted up because I think I played this more than any other game. Because the fact that this one adds probably some of the best multiplayer I've ever seen. But the campaign, yes, I, as a huge Halo fan, did find things lacking. But the more I play it, the more I really appreciate it. It's a great close to the series, but it changes a lot, and it lacks in some areas, but overall, I do love Halo 3. More of the multiplayer, I think, is very intriguing. Just the things you can do. You can play around in co-op campaign, getting points, skulls, achievements, armor, glitches. Forge, definitely one of the coolest things I've ever seen in gaming. I can sit around for hours just making maps. So yes, Halo 3, great achievement. Ha! Great achievement. Oh, I didn't even, no pun intended. Unintentional puns FTW. And there's Halo ODST. Now, Halo ODST, I personally think, is just a little game that Bungie threw together to keep people occupied until Reach came out. I don't even count Halo Wars. Let's just forget that ever happened. Halo ODST, I think, has some incredibly fun gameplay. It's a story told quite well, but unfortunately, the story itself isn't that good. The SMG in this game is definitely like the main thing I really like about it, but I think some of the characters are alright. There's some terrible and cheesy dialogue, but I replayed it recently. It is some fun. It's not a horrible game, but it doesn't compare to any of the others. Now, the game of the video, Halo Reach. Now, I first started playing Halo Reach, and I liked it, I was getting into it. It definitely progresses throughout. There's some multiplayer decisions that I just don't really like. There's some disimprovements with Halo 3, its predecessors, but overall, Halo Reach is a really good game. There's still those classic Halo things that are in there. You gotta watch for the end credit. But there are some things that just aren't so good. It almost feels like it's holding back at times. This game should be the most epic of epicness because there's so much in the original 3 Halos where they make subtle little references to things that happened before any of the Halos, and they're very intriguing. One of the first lines in the first Halo is talking about how Reach, they barely get off Reach, and they mentioned throughout that it's been obliterated by the Covenant. And so we're really interested to see what happens. We're interested to see where Cortana came from. We're interested to see where Chief came from. We're interested in all these things. But unfortunately, this game goes off in its own direction at times, which is fine to take these creative leaps while creating this new story that we've never even heard of before. But it still leaves some major questions out while throwing in some little things to be like, ooh, that's in the next game. It's like, oh, that's so cool. You just sit there and you're like, wow. That's cool, Bungie, but can you please give us like a story about that? And there are many times where I'm sitting there and I started thinking about the other Halos. And I'm just really wanting something to have included in that. Really, all they go into is Cortana. Now, I wanted to know, and these aren't really spoilers, because I'm just letting you know things that don't happen in the game, but I really want to know about Chief. I do. I like the mysteriousness of his character, but I still want some backstory where he came from. We get Noble Team. Now, Noble Team, it's an alright story. I don't think it's anything too amazing, but it's revolved around this entire Halo universe, which can make anything seem awesome. It starts off really quickly, but not really developing on really how this war starts. There are so many points that they did miss about Reach, but there's so many that they made. They do capture the perfect sense of this destruction of this planet and make you want to go out and just kill every single Covenant member, because they show these people just doing malicious, terrible things and just completely slaughtering the human race. I mean, we just get straight up ass raped, and it just makes you want to go pop in one of the other Halos so you can be Chief and just blow off people's head with no repercussion. But in that sense, it does work an emotional side that drives the rest of the campaign. Also, this was definitely the most difficult out of all the series. I just like to play in normal, to get the lay of the land. But even at that, it wasn't anything horrible, but there are times where it's really tough. I kind of like that because it's more similar to the old games where it wasn't just shoot and kill, walk away unharmed. You do have to strategize a little bit. Now, I've been focusing so much on the campaign that I really haven't played that much multiplayer. I played the beta, which did get me excited for matchmaking, but I really just haven't played that much of it. I haven't ranked up too much, but there are definitely a lot of improvements. They took away all the equipment that we didn't need, like Bubble Shield. No one really used that. They added some really cool things, like the jetpack. I really like how they kind of use the class, but they don't make it too expansive, so it is kind of fun to run around and see what guns you can find. While it does take longer than in other games, I do like the new ranking system. I think it works a lot better. And for things like when you're playing a team game and you're doing really awesome and your team sucks, you're still going to get rewarded higher and not equally. While it does give each player a chance to equally be good throughout through the individualistic scoring, also at the same time it's giving you more chances to propel if the rest of your team sucks, which is why I play Lone Wolf so much in Halo 3, because I get penalized for a crappy team. Eventually that backfired because it was the only thing I had skill up in, and then it got really hard and I couldn't get past a certain rank, whatever it was. So I'm happy they took away skill. I'm going to try to play this game before all those really annoying people that infested Halo and Call of Duty just come in who are really annoying and just aggressive and douchey and too obsessed with the game. I like gaming, but people just take it way too seriously sometimes. Like every other Halo game, it just leaves you wanting more, and it makes you sad that Bungie's not making anymore. While there still could be other ones developed by Microsoft, it does leave you being nostalgic and missing old things, but not preventing you from enjoying the new things. One of the reasons I don't do game reviews that often is because I focus mainly on the cinematic portions of games. Because I am a movie critic, truly more than a music or a game critic. I focus mainly on the cinematic sides of it, how it would work as a movie, or how it works with the little cutscenes. And the cutscenes in this game are truly awesome. They're very well directed. They're very well directed, supplied by a great score. While it's not the same as the ones we love from the previous, it does create a new sound that kind of works for the whole Reach atmosphere. Halo's always been really good at that, making things seem like they're coming straight out of a movie. Then you get to play, you're like, wow, now I'm just continuing the story. That's what I really love about it. Sometimes they go along really long and you feel like you should start playing, but they just keep going, but it's not too much of a complaint. Then on to Forge. Now, Forge is one of my favorite things in games in general, just because it's so cool. I love doing it. I love creating different game types for it. I just loved it overall. Me and my friends, or mainly me, I'd make these little maps and show them to people. Sometimes we'd collaborate, and it's really fun. They did make some cool improvements, like you don't have to glitch to get things to stay in the air, but at the same time, they made some simple things, just like rotating something a little more complicated than it needs to be. So, there are some things that I would have liked them to improve, but they just seem to completely ignore. Just maybe they didn't even notice. But at the same time, they kind of made things worse, but there's still a lot of better to it. I know I'm going to have a lot of fun with Forest World because there is a great open canvas. There are probably no limits to what I'm going to do. So yeah, I'm going to have some fun with that. Overall, Halo Reach is just the complete package, multiplayer and single player. I recommend this game. If you're not a fan of the series, you won't be missing too much. Yeah, you'll not get a lot of the references. But, as a prequel game, you can't really compare it to, if you have played the other ones, you can't compare it too much to the first three or any of the other ones. I know I'm guilty of that myself, but all we're doing is preventing ourselves from completely enjoying the entire game. Wow, I can't talk anymore. I'm used to doing 5-minute reviews, and this is a lot longer. So anyway, I'm gonna go now. I'm not very good at video game reviews. I do love this game. It's between a 9 and 9.5. I know it's kind of low, but I still need some time to soak it in. Best game of the year? No, that's either BioShock 2, well, definitely BioShock 2, then Red Dead Redemption, and this. I don't really have that much high hopes for Black Ops, but I don't really get that many games, so good game, go out and get it, even if you're not a big Halo buff. If you are, go get it. You probably have already. I just want more. And I had some rather unfortunate news, not for you guys, but for me. I had a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers for the end of September because my subscriber account was booming for a while. During the summer it was going up and up and up, and now it's increasing very slowly. So I doubt I'm going to make that. We've only got like 10 days left, and I'm like 75 off or something. But thank you all my subscribers. Please subscribe. This is kind of a spoiler. It's not too big. But the ending's really depressing. I really like how you actually got to play the end credit, how you could actually do that, and how you watch the main character yourself getting slaughtered in front of you. It's not even like first person, you're watching yourself, the person you played in Journey as, die. Oh, that was really cool how he fends them off for a while, but ultimately just goes. But I wasn't the only one who was kind of thinking that maybe, they just shock you and he actually is Chief, because when, Dr. Asley hands him Cortana, and he's like, she chose you. I was like, oh, so he's chosen. That must be Chief then. Then he doesn't get on the pillar. I'm like, whoa. Then I saw the little cool, press the right stick at that one time. You can see Chief in the cryo chamber. Thought that was really cool, but now I'm really torn between if I want more prequel story about, maybe one of the other planets or maybe a younger Chief, or if I just want, a Halo 4. Also, I was thinking, like, maybe they could just keep Noble Six alive and he's, like, no contact, and then that planet Chief was floating towards, maybe that was Reach, and then they, like, team up together and it's, like, badass, boom. Or, you know, I heard that, June, or I think that's how you pronounce it, is, he survives because they never actually tell you what happens to him, so maybe, you know, there's potential there.